All right. We are back. It's another day and it's another new video. We're gonna start on something new that we haven't worked on yet. No. We're gonna start on finishing something we've already started on. I don't know if y'all just don't like this truck or if it's too pretty for you or what the case may be, but the videos on this truck have not been doing very good. So I challenge you to watch the video, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not, and share the channel with all your friends, because I appreciate all you guys watching and that would really help me out. So that being said, cut to the intro. Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and today we're working on Dream On. And if you're not familiar, this is a 1967 Chevy C10 that appears to have been built in the 90s. Looks like a 90s era build. It's got a nice 90s style paint job and static drop. Interesting snakeskin interior. I'm not knocking it at all. I'm not talking bad about it. Don't get me wrong at all. This is a beautiful, beautiful truck. And I kind of like the more retro builds, to be honest with you. I think this thing is awesome. Got a big block Chevy, turbo 350. And we are installing, or have installed, a Holley Sniper. And we're going with the Classic Auto and Truck Air, or Classic Auto Air as it's called. And we've already made a couple videos on getting the stuff installed that we have installed, and this will hopefully be the last video. We're gonna finish it up. So last couple things we gotta do is install the vents in the dash. We have to put the condenser, we gotta take all this out here, install our condenser. Hopefully we don't have to move too much stuff. If we have to move this coolant overflow, that's really gonna mess up this panel. I don't think we're gonna have to, but we'll find out here shortly. So I'm gonna start getting stuff together and see what's going on. And we're gonna button up the last couple things. I do know that we're gonna have to go get hoses crimped, which will take some time because the kit comes with lengths of hose and fittings, but you have to get the hoses crimped. I don't have a crimper, but I know somewhere that does. So we might take a road trip and go get some hoses crimped, but other than that, I don't see any reason why we can't get it finished up. We got to tie up some hoses and some wiring, and I haven't really showed the full fuel system yet, which we'll do that. And got some wiring and a couple parts left to add in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling all this apart, and then we'll see what it takes to get that condenser in there. All right, well, I got started a little bit here with putting this condenser in and assembling it and putting it in. I didn't really show you guys, it's super easy. Comes with 4 brackets. Instructions tell you what corner to put them in. There's just little screws that hold them on, bada bing. The dryer, got a liquid line, goes down from the bottom of the condenser up to the dryer. It mounts with 2 little screws right here. No big deal also. Now, next thing, hopefully you guys will be able to see something, but down in there, you see that right there, you see that clear cap? That's the top line on the condenser. And if you look in front of it, there is a wall, a brace in the core support, which is that one right there. Now, the radiator, big old 4-core super awesome radiator that's in this truck is not the factory radiator in this truck, obviously. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out, and it's a lot wider. So you're supposed to be able to drill a hole through this right here, which allows the hose to go through and turn out to go back to hook up back there. Well, I've got this radiator pushed to the unbolted and pushed to the driver's side as far as it'll go, and there's no room for the hose to come through there. It has to come back. I can't leave it where it's at. It has to come back to mount. I did this so I could get in here because I had to take the battery tray off so I could get in here to work. So now I'm not complaining, I'm not bad talking anybody or anything like that. Let's make sure that's square and straight. Bigger radiator, bigger motor, fancy shiny stuff, I get it. I gotta drill the hole through this for the hose to come out, and because I can't get it to come out where it's supposed to, I'm gonna have to drill another hole in here, and then have the hose go down and come out underneath the battery where the other hose is supposed to come out, because I got to drill a hole here also for the line off the other side of the dryer. So I got 2 lines that got to come through the core support to go back to the AC box, and they can't run where they're supposed to because they don't fit. So I have to do some modification, and I got to take the condenser back out now. You have to put it in to mark where that hole goes. So I got that done, and I will get it taken back out. I'll show you guys where we drill the hole. Got a hole here I got to do and all that stuff. So we'll get all this stuff. I'll show you a little bit of the makings of what it's taking me to get this one in. If you do this kit on your own car, or on your own truck, I should say, if it's stock application, stock motor, stock radiator, all that, you're not gonna have to do all the stuff that I'm doing right now. But my buddy wants AC in this truck. This is how the kit fits. We're gonna make it fit. So I'll update you guys and kind of show you what I'm doing and keep things rolling, but we're gonna keep going. Okay, so moved on to the next stage in the instructions of drilling that hole, and it just said to drill that hole, so I just figured a line went through there. Well, after I drilled the first hole, I went to the next page in the instructions, and it said go get the 90-degree pipe out of the kit and put it in. And I said, oh man, like this radiator is too wide. Like I need it to go straight down under the battery box, all that stuff, or it's not gonna fit. Well, I got it to fit, and it's gonna be okay, but it's tight. Like I haven't put the radiator back in yet because I still have to tighten this fitting, but this is the 90. Hooks up back here, comes through the hole we drilled, and it is tight on that radiator. But I already checked, I can put the radiator mount on and it'll work. So there's that. It's in there, we can deal with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I already put the O-ring in, I already put mineral oil on the O-ring. I'm gonna go ahead and get the fitting tightened up, and then we'll move on to doing the next one. The next one is this one, and it hooks up to this side of the dryer, and then it's supposed to go through the firewall there. According to the booklet, the instructions, it's supposed to go through the hole in the firewall. There's not a hole in the firewall. Nothing at all. So we're gonna get it hooked up, get it laid out, find out where it's supposed to go, mark it. We'll drill a hole. Somehow we'll mark it from this side, drill it from the inside, and see if we can't get that line through. So I'm gonna work on that. There will be more, like look what I'm doing in this video, But for right now, I'm just trying to get stuff that doesn't really work to work. So I'll show you more. I'm gonna get that hole drilled, get that line hooked up, and then we should be able to measure out our lines and take them and get them crimped. I'd really like to get over and get them crimped today before they close. It's like a half an hour away. So let's see what we can do. All right, well, I'll bring you guys in closer and show you everything here in a little bit, but for this moment, I got all those lines in. I don't know if you can see this one here. I know you can't see the one down here. I got the radiator remounted with plenty of room to get to the cap. We got our line under the battery box. I put the battery box back in to make sure it was gonna have room. And I was like, heck yeah, I got my lines. You just gotta go bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. We can go get our lines made. And then I told myself, why do I need 3 lines, but I can only find where 2 of them are gonna go? Have you figured it out yet? Do you guys know AC? Well, what it comes down to is, there's something that does a really good job of making the AC work. It's called a compressor. And without the compressor, it's not going to do anything. And that's where my 3rd line goes, because one line goes from the compressor, goes from the condenser to the compressor, and the other line goes from the compressor to the AC box, and the other line goes from the AC box to the condenser. So anyways, I have to take this off. We got all new brackets and everything to put the compressor on here. So right now I am untensioning the belt on this turnbuckle on the alternator. So we can get our belts off, because we have to take our alternator off, because the marches, serpentine, pulley, shiny chrome, set, dealio, that we're running on here, that's already running on here, that we're gonna add to, has a bracket for the AC compressor to go right underneath this alternator, and it mounts the alternator, the bottom of the alternator, and the AC compressor. So I'm working on getting the alternator off. Then we'll get the other bracket and the AC compressor, get them in here, see what kind of business they make. All right, I haven't been filming a lot, but I have been working. I told you guys that with the big block being in this truck and the aftermarket radiator being in this truck and so on and so forth and here and there and everywhere, there was some fitment issues with stuff, and as I went on, the fitment issues continued. So we're doing our best, and I just noticed another fitment issue that I hadn't already noticed, and we're gonna have to look into that too. But we got our AC compressor mounted on our brackets with our pulleys and so on and so forth. I've got the hoses cut to length and made. They're gonna be tied up in a little bit neater than what they are right now. You can see I've got them marked to where they need to be, the orientation that they need to be to get crimped. We got all of them marked, and the alternator's just ready to plop back on, but I'm just keeping it out of my way until I get this stuff done. And I'll tell you what, I've got probably 3 hours so far in just getting that AC compressor mounted, getting the fancy little covers put on the ends. I was able to put the one on the compressor before I put it in, but then I couldn't install it the way the instructions said to, because it wouldn't go in. And that little cover on the end of that little idler pulley right there, it yeah, let's just say it wasn't that friendly. But now if you look, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but these pulleys are lined up. This water pump pulley is too far back. Like the whole edge of it is actually inside the edge of the bracket. So it's like a whole groove over. This bracket is out too far. So, and there's not a lot of, there's a fitment issue down here where the water pump and the AC bracket come next to each other. I don't know if there's room to get the hose in there. But that being said, we're about to hop in the truck. I'm about to hop in the truck. I'm by myself. And we're gonna head down the road to Columbus Rubber and Gasket, I think it's called. Never been there before, but they crimp hoses, and I talked to them on the phone. And they're gonna be reasonable about the price, and we'll just go down there and see how they do. But I'll go get that done. I'll get some other stuff caught up, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, well, I keep going on this thing. I keep fighting it, and things are coming along. It's fine. Everything's fine. I was able to get the accessory brackets on. The compressor's in. Alternator's back on. And I have, pretty sure I have enough room to get a lower hose onto the bottom of the water pump. But it's going to be tight. So I'm going to have to, because of the routing of the hose, it's not going to fit in between the frame and the AC compressor. And like I said before, this is angled up, so it's got to come up here and go over there and down there. And I'm not going to find a hose that does that. So we're going to have to make a metal tube that gets straight shots on both ends. And then we'll just use little rubber couplers between the hoses, or between the pipe and the connections on the water pump and the radiator. So that being said, I made progress. Everything's on. I still have to figure out the length of the belt. I'm hoping it's in the instructions somewhere. I'll look for that. If it's not, I can measure it out and get close, hopefully close enough. So that being done, and I have the AC lines all crimped and ready to go. They just need to be put on. No big deal, I can throw them on anytime. And then I can plumb the heater hoses. They're ready with the valve that goes in there. That's all ready. That's no big deal. So AC lines can go on, heater hoses can go on. It's getting close. We have to cut the vents for inside, which once again, it's just a matter of having the right size hole saw. One vent is gonna go right here. One in the same spot on the other side. And then this one goes right there. So, got to cut that out. I'll get the 3 vents for inside. Hook up the piping for those vents, those 3 vents, and the defroster vents in the dash. That should go fairly smooth and easy. And then we just got to wire everything in, which that shouldn't be that bad either. So next thing we're gonna do is start putting those AC vents in, and we're gonna get started on that now. All right, so I know I told you guys that we were gonna move on to doing the AC vents, and I did kind of move on to starting on the AC vents, but my drill battery died and I couldn't drill, so I had to put it on the charger, and I started messing with something else, and 3 days later, we're gonna go through that. So after seven 20 mile round trip, or 40 mile round trip trips, I finally got a belt that fit. The instructions, and no, I didn't say that wrong, the directions said to use a 62-inch belt. Even gave you the part number. So I called and got the belt that they said it needed. 4 inches too long. So I did the old string trick where you wrap a string around the pulleys and mark it and take it off and measure it and all those fine and dandy things. 57.5. So I got a 57.5-inch belt. Too short. So I got a 60 3/8 belt. Too long. Got a 58 3/8 belt. Too short. So on and so forth. For the person that owns this truck, and for me, so I don't forget, the belt that fits it is 59.25 inches. That might help somebody else that's using this same accessory setup. 59.25 is what it ended up being. And this is a full March accessory kit here. So if you have the March accessory kit, need a belt, K060586 is the Gates number. 59.25 inches long. So that's it. Finally, 3 days later, we got a belt that fits. So while I was going back and forth with belts and everything, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and run our heater hoses and yada yada yada. So we got this heater hose run hooked up. Obviously it'll be mounted and pretty. Got this one hooked up, and this one has a water valve that goes into it that shuts off the flow going through the heater core, so when you're in AC mode and not in heat mode, it's not circulating hot water through your heater core. Great idea, works great. See, there's a plug-in right there. That's how it gets controlled, turns it on and off. So here's our plug-in. Let's say that's roughly 1/2 inch by a little over 1 inch rectangle plug-in. Well, the directions once again said to take this plug and put it through this hole. Now, that's a 1/2 inch if we're lucky. That is not going to fit through that. And I don't want to drill the hole out to over 1 inch so that'll pass through there, because then it'll look like poop when I try to pretty it up and put sealant or whatever the case around it. So I've looked, and I think what I can do is, I think I can de-pin this harness. I'm gonna draw a diagram of it so I know which wires go back where. And I'm gonna try to de-pin that harness, and then after I de-pin it, I should be able to pass just the wires through. And then be able to plug it in. So it doesn't say to do that in the instructions. I wouldn't think they'd want you taking their wiring harnesses apart on something that is warranted, whatever. But I gotta do what I gotta do. I mean, I'm not gonna drill a one inch plus size hole in that to be able to pass that wire through. So sorry for my eye running. I got something in it a couple days ago and I got it out, but it scratched it real bad or whatever, and it's been irritating me ever since. So who cares, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go and make up a diagram, de-pin that harness, see if we can't get that through there, get the water valve put in, get it hooked up, and then I'll show you guys progress when we get progress. Okay. Okay, so we got a fight going on here. This door does not want to stay open for me. I can't get me and the camera in here with the door. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here is we're getting ready to put our vents in. So we need to come here and we need to go, it says in the instructions to measure over 1 3/4 inches from the side, and then we need to measure up 1 5/8. So that's going to be right there. Now we got that measured out. It says to use a 2. I'm gonna double check real quick and I'll tell you guys for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a 2 1/4 hole saw that we drill that hole with. So let me grab the drill and the hole saw and I'll be right back. Okay, so it is a 2 1/4 like I thought it was. So now get us lined up here. Now we've got our vent here. It's gonna go right in there like so, and then this goes on and screws in from the back. But I got to come in with a file, clean that up a little bit so it'll go on better, and we'll get her put in. All right. Well, I'm walking over here to show you the vent that we got put in. I don't think I showed you guys this yet. I got all my heater hoses in. Got my heater valve in. Got my wires for my heater valve run. Got all my AC hoses in. So the only thing under the hood that we have left to do for the AC system is make a lower radiator hose, and that's going to be a pain in the butt, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Right now we're going to finish up the inside, which here you can see we got our vent there. I already did the one on the other side, and then like I showed you before, we got this one that goes in the middle right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started working on that one. There's a little bit of wiring stuff in here, but not much. And we'll just keep on going. Once I get the inside done and get the lower radiator hose done, then I just have to wire the AC, wire the sniper, and we should be about ready. I got spark plug wires put back on with new spark plugs installed. All that stuff is done. I still have to hook up the spark plugs over here to the distributor. Just haven't gotten that far yet. But just putzing along, getting stuff done. So I'm going to set up hopefully where you guys can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to go and start doing that center vent. I really just like drilling holes in nice painted finished stuff, but you do what you got to do. I mean, that's part of it. So what we're gonna do, And like I said, I already got this vent put in. It's done, turned out good, just like the other one did. And then it has this corrugated plastic tube that runs from the unit inside to the vents. It goes, got to hook it up to those two vents, the center vent that we're about to put in now, and then also to the defroster vents, which are already there. I just have to hook all those up. So I'll show you guys putting this other vent in, and then I'll go back and get the vents all hooked up, get the little bit of wiring under the dash that needs to be done, and we'll keep pushing. I really would like to start this thing and get it done. So let's see how far we can get today. Okay, so we got our template for the center, called the center louver, but it's got this dotted line here that says to locate along the edge of the padded dash. So that would be up there. We're going to cut that off so that it's easier to put it up there. Now, I'm going to go get a tape measure so I can center it on the ashtray, which should center it on everything else. Maybe I'll center it on the cutout for this, but I think we're going to do some measuring. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so I measure from here to here, 3.5. Here to here's 3.5. Okay, so this should be centered. Now if I measure from there to there, I got 7 inches. So that means 3.5 should be my center line. Come on. Come on. 3.5 should be my center line on that. So, and then of course everything's just gonna move. That's where that needs to be. And now we're gonna find our center line again. Come on. Okay, so it's our center line there. That lined up there. That looks pretty dang straight. So now it's telling me it wants me to drill 1/2-inch holes right here. I'm just going to take that and make a mark there. Take that and make a mark right there. And I can, you guys can't, but I can see my marks. So we're good there. Now, just for peace of mind, I'm going to set my level here, and we are on the bubble. I'm going to line that up, and we are on the bubble. So we're nice and straight. So we'll go ahead and get our holes drilled. See if I can get up in here better. You guys might be saying, I thought you were supposed to drill 1/2-inch holes, which you're right, I am. But I'm just drilling a little pilot hole because it's easier to get a small hole through. And then I've got the step bit over here that we'll be able to take and step it up to 1/2 inch. So got that one done. That one done. There's going to be a lot of cleaning needed to be done in this truck when I'm done. Get all these metal shavings and everything out, but it's all part of it. So. Alrighty. I'm going to go get a marker and mark my step bit so I know where my 1/2 is so we don't go too big. You guys should be able to see I put a black line on the next step past the size that I need to go to. The reason I did that is because step bits usually work really fast and it's easy to go too far. So I can see that, but I can also stop and check it regularly. There we go, there's 1/2 inch. And there we go, there's 1/2 inch. So we got those in. It's done. Double check it. And we are right on our bubble still. Good deal. So, pretty sure I have to trace out that whole shape and cut that out for the vent to go in there. But I'm going to go get our vent and double check, but I'm pretty sure I have to trace this out of there, get a saw, cut that out so that our vent can go in there. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, now I read the instructions again, and it says to do the opposite of this. It says to cut the paper off, put your little piece up there, and trace around the outside of it. Well, I'm not good at following directions. I figured it'd be easier to do it this way. So I cut the piece out that I need going. I'm going to put it where it should be. And it's going to just move on me and stuff and be a pain in the butt. Like so. And I'll tape it in place. Now, the directions also say that this is a rough cut and that you will have to file to fit. So basically, with that being said, we're just getting this close to where we need it, and then we're going to have to file it out anyways. So Right now I'm just taping this just for the purpose of marking it. And then we're gonna take it right back off. Okay. Get that out of the way. And we have our template marked out. Now, I do not want to introduce any sparks into the interior of this truck. It's way too nice. Everything's in really good shape, if not new. I do not want to mess that up. So with that being said, I have a little, call them body saws or whatever, air-powered body saw. And so that is what I'm going to use. It usually doesn't work very well, but it's better than a cutoff wheel. And I already got a vacuum and clean up all the metal shavings anyways. So that's what we're gonna go with. Like I said, it's just a rough cut. So I just got to get it close, and then we got to kind of file the fit anyways, so that's what I'm doing. I don't know how many days it's been since the last time I filmed. I don't even remember where I left off. What I can tell you is I made excellent progress today. I didn't do a whole lot since what you guys saw last film-wise. I know that for a fact, but I've had some other things that have come up that I had to take care of. And honestly, I fought for like every day of a week on the lower radiator hose on this truck. I know I mentioned it to you guys. I know I mentioned to you that I was gonna have to make one. I did make one. How to exhaust pipe with pie cuts, I may have showed you. I honestly don't remember, and I'm sorry guys, this video may not be turning out the best because I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm leaving off, I don't remember what I have filmed. I'm kind of just doing updates on this one, and then when I get to a certain point, I want to film a bunch for you guys. I don't want the video to be too long, yada, yada, yada. I'm just carrying on. But that being said, lower radiator hose is in down there. I made my pipe. It doesn't touch anything. I have almost a 1/4 inch of room between the AC compressor and my pipe, and almost a 1/4 inch of space between the frame rail and the pipe. I thought I was gonna have to kind of relief cut the frame because of how I originally was doing it. I made some changes and I didn't have to, which I'm happy about. Took me a little bit longer, but I got it the way I wanted it. So anyways, all the AC lines are done. Compressor, evaporator, condenser, dryer. We got our heater core hoses run with our water valve for the auto car, man, I'm losing it too much. Classic auto air, that's what it is. Man, I'm losing it. Got that done. I got all the ducts or the vents finalized and in. All the ducting for everything is run, and everything for the classic auto air is wired, mainly because it's plug and play. Easiest thing I've ever done. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's got think I showed you guys this already, but it's got this control box right here. It's got a relay. Everything plugs into the control box. The other end of it goes to where it's supposed to plug into. And the only wires that I have to actually hook up to something is positive and ground straight to the battery. This white wire goes to the low pressure switch. Low pressure switch goes to the compressor, and that's it. So I've got 3 wires left to hook up. Vintage air is done. That's going to be keyed accessory, 12 volt, the low pressure switch to the, I bet you that, sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I don't know what this purple wire is, but I bet you it's fans. So when you turn the AC on, it automatically turns the fan on. I'm gonna have to read into the instructions more. The little diagram that showed the wiring didn't have the purple wire on it, but I bet you that's what it's for. I bet you it's to power a fan. Yeah, I bet you it's to power a fan, so you can turn a fan on when the AC comes on, so it's always running when the AC's on, which the fans are going to be wired through these relays right here. And then all we have left, we're going to use probably 2 wires out of this harness. This is going to be power and ground for the fuel pump. Blue wire is the power feed to the fuel pump. This is going to be, this goes to our distributor. This is 12 volt ignition. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is coil input. So this is going to go to our coil tack. This is not going to be used because this is for if you have like a MSD box or something. So this goes to our tack on our coil. This is keyed ignition, and then the rest of these go out here. So this is going to be our power and our ground for the whole system, not just that, it's going through that relay also. Yeah, that's it. And then this goes to our handheld. Got these that are already plugged into that. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just say like 10 wires we got to hook up. Got to put a couple spark plug wires on. Have to put gas in the tank. And we're going to be ready to hit the key on this old girl and see if we can't bring her back to life. So it is late in the day. I've been working on this all day long, and I'm done for the day. It's after 5. I'm going home and eating some dinner because you don't stay fat by missing meals. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna come back first thing in the morning and see if we can't finish up old Dream on and give our buddy back his dream truck. So see you in a minute. All right, Holly's wired in. Fuel pump's wired in. Obviously that's part of the Holly. Let's just get to it. Everything is wired in. Everything that I rewired, upgraded, cleaned up, so on and so forth, all wired. Terminator. Sniper, wired. Classic auto air, wired. And I'm gonna show it to you, and you guys are gonna say, what the heck, you just left all them wires sitting out there like that and yada yada yada. Yes, but that's not permanent. I'm gonna go back and loom everything up and make it pretty and all that stuff, but not until it's right and it works, because that's just, I mean, I've done it before. I've gone, oh, I've got directions, I know what I'm doing, I'll wire this whole thing, get it all wired in perfect, and I'll go ahead and loom it, and I'll tape it all up, and I'll mount it, and everything looks really nice. And then you go to start it, and it doesn't crank. And you're like, well, why isn't it cranking? And you start searching around, and needless to say, I'm rambling a lot, but if you leave everything open and exposed and you have a problem that you have to fix, it's a lot easier to fix it. So make it run, get it good to go, and then we will tie everything up and make it look nice. So all that mess that used to be here and here, all cleaned up and done. That stuff is all clean. It just needs to be more, you know, routed and organized and stuff. And then we got our relay and our fuse for our fuel pump and all our wiring for our classic auto air, and all our wiring for our sniper come up, run down here along the fender. Got 2 more relays, 1 for each fan, electric fan, that are going to be triggered by the sniper. And we got our battery connections. So we got our wiring for our AC compressor hooked up. We've got our handheld unit for the sniper hooked up. Like, everything is hooked up. Like, I should be able to get in here right now and get the handheld ready and turn the key on, and it should power up. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now and see what happens. So I've got our handheld here, and we're going to turn the key to the on position. And we're not going to get anything. See, this is why you don't tie all the wiring up. So now, I thought everything was cool and we were ready to go, but it's not, because we got to go back and find out why we're not getting any power. So I know that we have power key on because I can turn on our blower and it works. So for some reason we're just not getting power to the Holly. So let me go through that again, find out why. And then I'll bring you guys back and we'll get back to programming with the Holly again. All right, well, it only took me about 10 seconds to figure out. When I routed the wire out to power the stuff, I didn't hook it up to its location that it needed to be hooked up to, because I wanted to get it all run and connected and everything first, and then I was going to hook it up. And I forgot that step when I got all that done. So now, key on, Holly on. Check that out. So now we're going to go to the wizard, and I'm trying to get this where you guys can see it, but it doesn't look like it's going to work that well. So we've got the, oh, okay, that. Next, you guys probably can't see this. I'm just gonna do the wizard, and I'll get it all laid out for you. It's self-explanatory, and there's step-by-step instructions in the thing. So if you're doing a sniper and you want to know how to do the setup wizard, you just go through the instructions and go through the handheld wizard here, and it's a piece of cake. So I'm gonna do that. I'll bring you guys back when we get ready to try to fire this thing up. Okay, I know it's really noisy with the fans and stuff, but we're about to crank this thing, and if it starts, I don't like all the exhaust and stuff in my shop. I honestly don't even really like starting them in my shop, but it's okay, and that's where we're at. So Pops is here. He's gonna get in there and hit the key. I got my timing light here. We're gonna see if we can get it close enough, and then we're going to let it sit here and warm up till it gets to temperature, and then we'll really be able to time it and set the idle and all that kind of stuff once it gets to the mode where the computer's learning and whatnot. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we already fired it up once. I just popped it off for a second and just kind of looked over it, just because I didn't turn the camera on and I was excited about it starting after all the work I put into it. but I haven't let it run. I haven't done no tuning on it or anything like that, so I didn't, you know, ruin everything for you guys. But Pops is going to turn the ignition key on. We're going to wait for the sniper to do its thing. And hit it. We just let it run for 10 minutes, about. As you can hear, I'm getting over here where you can see it, but that fan is running. I let it get hot enough, which was about 205 degrees. So the second fan kicked on, so both fans came on. And there it goes again. Yeah, 205, the second fan comes on. Obviously you shut it off, it increases temp. But now you can see we got both fans. They work, didn't have to fix none of that. Wiring was already good. We have a tranny cooler line leaking where it goes to the radiator. I'm gonna have to fix that. I don't know if it leaked before because it never ran since it's been here, but it leaks now. I'm gonna fix it before it leaves. I have to get a new radiator cap. This one doesn't go on well, so I'm gonna have to do that, and then we're gonna route a hose down. It had a, not sure where I put it, but it had a reservoir here, but it doesn't fit anymore because the yeah, there's Pops has it. It had an not a reservoir, it had an overflow tank, and the cap came through right here. But the dryer for the AC is right there in that spot. So it wouldn't fit there anymore. So I don't know if I'm gonna run a hose down to the ground and call that good, or if I'm going to like try to move it over here somewhere. I want to try to move it over here, but there's not really anywhere to mount it. And I could like mount it back here somewhere and just run a hose back to it. Maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't, but anyways, it's running really good. Actually, this is like the best first startup I've ever had on a sniper. Like, I've had lots of problems with snipers. Not this one. This puppy fired up. It took to the adjustments that I gave it. It liked them, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm really happy with it. I'm glad that's the case, because we've been working on this truck for a while now, and we finally got it to where it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I'm really happy with that. And doesn't look like my lower coolant line, my lower radiator hose that we made, is leaking, which is perfect. And I'm just really happy with it. Like, it's running good, everything's cool. So next thing, I'm gonna let it cool off for a little bit, kind of heat soak, cool down. Hasn't ran in a while. And then we'll fire it back up. Actually, while it's cooling down and whatnot, I'm gonna hook the vacuum pump up for the AC, and we'll pull that down, pull a vacuum on it, because you gotta let that sit for a while anyways. And then we might charge the AC today. We might end this video right here. I haven't decided yet, but we'll find out in a little bit. All right, I got my gauges hooked up. Got a vacuum pump down here. And as you can see there, we got the low side pulled all the way down to 30. High side's only about 20, that's as far as it'll go. But now we're gonna let that sit. Depends on the person. I usually say 15 to 20 minutes, because if it hasn't leaked down in 15 to 20 minutes, then it should be fine. If we lose some, then I have to go through and check our connections. But every connection is brand new, with brand new O-rings, with oil on them. Shouldn't be anything leaking, but if you don't do it the process right, it's not gonna be right. So we got it pulled down. We're gonna let it hold its vacuum, and then once the motor cools off a little bit, which it's cooling down on its own pretty good, it's not radiating heat onto us anymore already. So we'll have to fire it up. We'll charge the AC up maybe. Might wait till tomorrow, so we'll see. All right guys, it's Monday evening, and we hadn't even been looking at the time, but we just looked at the time and it's after 5, and that's getting close to fat boy feeding time. And so we're gonna call it a day. And because it's Monday evening and I haven't got a video out in 3 weeks, and Tuesday morning is our normal video time, we're going to call it a day, and I'm gonna call it a video. I'm gonna edit this video tonight, get it up for you guys in the morning, because you've been so patiently waiting to get a new video. I'm gonna give it to you. I was gonna finish this truck out, have this be the last video on this truck, but that's not gonna happen. But that's okay, because payoff videos are always good anyways. So hopefully I can get that up as an extra later this week. But anyways, you saw it run. All the electronics are working like they, or all the electrical, all the wiring that I did and everything is working as it should be. It runs good. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I pulled the vacuum down. It's been sitting here for 10 minutes and neither needle has moved. So I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and we'll know for sure if it's leaking or not by tomorrow. I got another little thing I gotta do tomorrow morning before we come in. So it'll probably be noontime or so before we get over here. So if it's still holding 30 pounds of vacuum at noon tomorrow, we're in excellent shape. So that's gonna do it though. If you're not subscribed, please do. Really helps me out. I can use all the help I can get. Leave me a comment, hit the like button. It all makes a big difference, and it all really helps me, and I really appreciate all you guys.
And share it.
Oh, Pops said make sure you share it too, so everybody's got to listen to Pops. But anyways, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.